I'd say happy Monday, but I don't think there's really much happy about it. At least not in the Walking Dead world. I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead. We do talk about the Walking Dead, which is what we're about to talk about now. But if you like podcasts in general and you would like to hear podcasts about things not Walking Dead related, consider hitting that subscribe button, because we do podcast about a number of other things that are not even close to Walking Dead related. Also, regardless, give this video a like. Helps us out a lot. We'll talk about our Patreon, which you can go to and contribute to the channel after the podcast, along with social media. But I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
You had to think about that. Are you sure you're JP?
I'm a little hoarse. I'll tell you that much.
Are you wearing a mask?
A mask?
What have you done with JP?
You don't want to know, but he enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, you know you can pretend to be him pretty well, right?
I can pretend that I'm doing pretty good at it.
Okay. Yeah, as long as you do that.
Sorry, gosh. Let me drink some water.
Drink some water.
I wish I had some OJ this morning, but with my digestive issues this morning, orange juice would probably create a whole different problem. So,
would it give you heartburn? Or would it make you have to go poop?
Anyway.
Oh, well, let's talk about what I'm sorry to sound so unprofessional, but I just really don't. I'm not really feeling. I've gotten to the point where I'm not really feeling Fear the Walking Dead. What episode was this?
What was this? Episode 5?
That's what I was thinking going into this.
I don't know the. I'll do a little googling real quick.
I'm not gonna lie. As we get 5 episodes into this season, I am very disappointed in Fear the Walking Dead. For a show that I was very much looking forward to coming back, and I'm sorry for those that love it. You know, this is just our opinion. I mean, if you love it, you love it, and you don't need to convince us why we should love it. We just don't like it. But if you like it, we're not going to try to convince you why you shouldn't like it. We're just going to talk about why we don't like it. Number one, because it's boring as hell. Like, I don't care about any of this story arc. You know what I mean? Like, the only good thing to come from this weekend was that I binged Stranger Things Season 3 on Friday night. And it was absolutely awesome.
Okay, I think maybe it's actually episode number 6.
Was it number 6?
Facing impossible odds, Luciana and the group work together to tackle an impossible task, while Morgan helps prevent disaster. An old friend presents Sarah, Charlie, and Strand with a solution.
No, yeah, that was episode 6. I guess the old friend would be Jimbo.
The Little Prince.
Yeah, I'm not.
The episode. It was great talking to you guys this morning.
Yes, that's.
No, look. There was some things that kind of stood out to me, but geez,
I mean,
my brain just locked up. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I was getting ready to say something.
Mine does it all the time. I don't know, man. Like, I'm tired of Morgan's motivational speeches. I wish this show would go darker. You know what I mean? Like, get dark. I mean, that's what the Walking Dead originally was, that we like so much about it. I mean, that's why when Rick gave his little inspirational speeches, they stood out and they meant something, because it was a really dark time and I don't know. I don't like the direction. I don't know. Some of the stuff is so cheesy. I mean, I don't know. The floating beer thing was a little out there for me. I mean, I get it, but it just was a little, I don't know, it was a little silly.
In my mind, when John Dory asked Dwight, what happened to Sherry, how they got separated, I wanted to just be like, when he says it's a long story or whatever, I was just waiting for him to be like, well, it all kind of started when I essentially sold her into sex slavery to an evil tyrant ruling over the D.C. metropolitan area. And, things kind of went downhill from there. We tried to escape. He melted half my face. Some poor diabetic girl got eaten by zombies, and I kind of put her back into indentured sex servitude. And, it just kind of snowballed.
I was disappointed, too, because, like, Dwight and Morgan, these are our connections to the main Walking Dead, show. And, like, even then, I mean, just to hear Dwight speak Negan's name would have been cool as hell. I was very disappointed. Even then, we didn't get much of it. Like, I would have been happy with him just saying something along the lines of, it's a long story, whatever. But then maybe saying there was a guy named Negan. Like, yeah, even though we know the backstory, and I'm sure that would be one's argument against that, is, well, we already know the back. But it would be cool because he's filling in these people, which gives me hope that maybe one day they'll meet Negan, or I don't know. I don't know.
It's Dwight really should have came in just like a stick of dynamite and really shook things up, but he's just kind of there, he's just kind of moping along.
I would have probably wrote him as the enemy for this season, but not in a, like, he's just gone villainous, like a misunderstanding type thing. Like, perhaps they meet Sherry dies, and Dwight thinks that they're responsible, so he's hunting. You know what I mean? Just some kind of conflict to really raise the stakes for this season. And then, it'd have been very conflicting because Dwight's not a bad guy and that they're not bad people, but that's what, and again, I'm not going to get much into it, but like that's how none of my books have been published or even read, so they're not nearly as successful.
I keep asking to read them, but you don't let me.
But like in mine, the whole first book, you have in mine, I think there was there were three groups. There was a grocery store group, there was the main group that I considered the main group, and then there was another group. And basically it was this big misunderstanding where the leader of one group ends up killing this guy of the other group. But like only the reader sees what really happened. And then from the perspective of him and then because like this guy that gets killed has got a relationship with the girl that's kind of the lead. Well, that's not a relationship, but they're kind of falling, they kind of like each other. And she's like the leader of this group. And then, Kurt, which is like the main leader of this group, she does all she does. Basically, she comes around the corner and sees Kurt blow this guy's head off. And to her, he's a straight up bad guy. So like they're out, she's out for blood the whole second book. And like as the reader, you're just helpless because you're like, no, you don't understand what happened. It was really cool because you don't really pick a side because you don't, you know what I mean? Like that was just my way of looking at it. It's like nobody is really the bad guy. And it all started with a very Merle type character. That's how all this gets kicked off, is a very Merle type character. It's all about a misplaced gun and thinking that this person did, and it's really I was really proud of it because when you read it you just feel so conflicted. You're like, I like both characters. Like we followed them both for an entire book and we like them and we've come to know them and know how they tick and know some of their backstory, and now they're like eventually Kurt is starting to go after her and her group because they keep attacking them, so he's like, we're gonna have to take them out, this isn't gonna work. So then you're just like, no, I mean, like just something, shake the show up with something fun like that. I don't know.
Yeah, one thing it interested me some was like, do you think John Dory is a douche for reading that letter Sherry wrote and then withholding it?
Yeah, well, I think he was a douche kind of. I think he originally was reading it just to see if that's what it was, because I mean, for all he knew, it was just a letter. Hey, Jerry, don't forget to pick up the milk when you go to the grocery store this day. But I think that. I mean, it's a classic trope, though. It's like, oh, he lied to withhold information, so now we know at some point Dwight's going to get mad at him.
But honestly, I think I could have, read enough to realize what it was and who it was for, and folded it back up. Like, there's been times your email's been on the computer, and like I'll open the first one because Justin, and I'll be like, oh, hey, that's not my email. Let me close it out immediately because even though it's something trite and completely meaningless. Yeah, it's a matter of principle, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, and he definitely could have.
And then he makes the decision that Dwight shouldn't read that.
It was kind of douchey. I mean, it's one of those things where it's not douchey in the sense that he didn't want to see Dwight hurt, but it also was douchey because it wasn't. Once he figured out that was a letter from Sherry, once it said D, he should have been like, "Oh, Dwight, got a letter." But, I mean, the thing is, I think the way they're trying to spin it is after everything he went through with June, knowing that June was out there and finding her was what gave him the motivation to keep going and to not give up. And he was seeing Dwight start to, get some hope and some, So I get why John Dory did it. I mean, he knew that if he let that would crush Dwight, Dwight would just be, and Dwight's starting to be a little more optimistic and he's got more motivation to keep going. And I think John Dory sees a little bit of himself in that. And I think he knows that if someone were to, which they did, I think, tell him that they thought June was dead, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
But I think if he would have straight up had confirmation that June wanted nothing to do, if he would have been in that same boat, he knows that he would have had no reason to keep going. So I think he withheld that with the best of intentions. But at the end of the day, it was kind of like, you should have just gotten to the part where you realized it was for Dwight and been like, hey, I found a letter.
Yeah, man, I'm not into the whole, Dwight's following some trail of breadcrumbs that Sherry left. I don't know. I think Dwight should just kind of take up the Negan model, and when we see him in Fear the Walking Dead for the first time, he's just got a whole harem of bitches. He's, carting around in a bus, and, I don't know.
I found every girl named Sherry up and down the East Coast, and now they're mine.
How fun would that be? Just like I just watched the King of the Hill episode where Luann joins a cult posing to be a sorority, and everyone his name is Jane, so, the girls can be like, oh, my name's actually Brienne. Nope, you're Sherry. You're Sherry now. Everybody's Sherry.
It's like, this is Sherry, that's Sherry, that's Sherry. My name's Jennifer. No, it's Sherry.
Sherry, yeah.
Sherry, yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
That would have been fun, right? Mm-hmm. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just the season's. It's not like The Walking Dead, which I know a lot of people crap on The Walking Dead now. But I mean, this season of The Walking Dead, I was super excited for every episode. Like I really was. Like Sunday nights, it didn't feel like a chore. I was like, oh shit, The Walking Dead's coming on. Had to turn the TV to it and everything. And this one, I'm just like next week. After this episode, like next week, I really don't have anything that I'm like.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have anything that I'm just like, oh boy, I can't wait to.
It would be even better taking another page out of King of the Hill. Just Dwight starts wearing dresses and saying, "I found, Dwight found me. I'm Sherry."
Yeah, like they go, "What's your name, buddy?" "I'm Dwight, and this is my wife, Sherry." And he turns around, smears makeup on his face. He's like, "I'm Sherry.
It's me, Sherry. Dwight finally found me. We couldn't be happier."
Just have Dwight just completely lose it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was excited to see, because I really did. If you go back and listen to the podcast when Dwight first showed up on the show, I did not like him. I didn't like the character. I didn't have nothing against the actor, but I didn't like him, like, at all. And as it progressed, I actually started really liking Dwight. You know what I mean? Like, towards the end there, I really liked his efforts to, you found out he actually wasn't a bad guy. He did bad stuff trying to keep Sherry alive, pretty much, but then he did, then he risked it all. Once Sherry was out and safe and he knew that Negan couldn't use her against him, he, straight up was full team Rick and even was willing to die to help him pretty much. So, I mean, I liked Dwight and I was excited when he was coming over. But, I mean, like, we haven't.
I'm telling you, man, what Dwight needs is some Strand disfaction, all right? Strand needs to just go up to Dwight and just, caress the melted side of his face and say something clever like, "Don't feel bad, Dwight. I like my chips ruffled," or something like that. And then just,
"Don't worry, Dwight. I like the crispy feel of your skin."
Yeah, just something just super smooth. The next thing you know, they're in bed together. And
smooth is
weird.
Smooth is only in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
This feels smooth.
I think Strand can make
that'd be creepy, man.
We're getting ready to just start going into a full-on gay porn.
Right, some fan homoerotic. No, but
homoerotic fan fiction. I actually wrote some Star Trek like that. But anyway, that's
homoerotic Star Trek fan fiction. You should sell it. It might make some money.
It wasn't straight up Star Trek. It's kind of like the Orville before the Orville. I'll have to let you read it, and maybe we can voice it.
That'd be fun.
Do you want to be the captain, number 2, or Caramel Swirl? We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
I want to be Caramel Swirl with a name like that. How could I not have an interesting part?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm not feeling it. I'm not.
Not the strongest season. I don't know. I know a lot of people are so invested in the characters that they just, they just love seeing them on screen, but it's not a lot of meat on the bone this go around for me.
I mean, it's slow. I mean, it's like it's just dragging, man. I don't. After the disappointing, Game of Thrones final season, I was really hoping Fear the Walking Dead would come in and knock it out the park and give me something new to be excited for on Sunday nights, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, not a whole lot went on with Daniel's return.
Right, he showed up basically, and like I said, I don't know if they're setting up for something later or if that was just kind of fanfare, because I know he's a musician, I know he's super busy, and I don't know if they just, basically he was in town, they got him to come in for a little bit of fanfare, which it was great to see him, but that's a character I want to follow. Like, let's follow him for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Hopefully the wrap up will be better. But it's a lot like, like you get the big Marvel tie-in events, and this is like The Walking Dead's the main event, and we're all interested to see, the return of Rick, the mystery with Rick, and Fear right now is just like one of those little like tie-in series that you read, but you really don't want to read.
You think Rick's going to actually come back to the show? Because I thought I had read like it was 100% confirmed he was never coming back to the show. Do you think they might change that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's him just, The more he says he won't be back, the more money they'll give him for coming back.
Right.
So yeah, I absolutely think he's going to be back on it.
I mean, it just ain't the same without him.
Yeah, we can all agree on that. My pal Skippy.
Not that The Walking Dead's not great. Don't get me wrong. I have loved this season. I truly thought. I think we said in the podcast a while back that if Rick ever left, the show would have to end. But I was very pleased with how well the show was this season. But with that said, I still do miss my Rick.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I posted a story on our Facebook about the end of the Walking Dead series, talking about the comic. And my pal Skippy posts under it, they ain't even, the show ain't over yet, So
Newsflash.
I was just like, dude, read the article.
Yeah.
But he's a silly boy.
He's a silly goose.
And sometimes he can be naughty.
But
anyway,
you tell me things that I don't feel like I need to know sometimes.
Yeah. But, and so it's totally impossible for them to get out of the fallout zone on foot. Like, that's just an impossible.
Yeah, because they flew in, and I think all the roads are covered in radiation or whatever.
I know they got that mountain behind them, but just kind of finding a trail and scaling over that mountain, that's just undoable. It's not.
I guess. Like I said,
So I said, man, I mean, before I would get in some raggedy-ass jerry-rigged plane, I think I would hoof it. And I mean, obviously you don't want to go through the fallout zones, but I mean, scaling a mountain, I mean, it's not like Mount Everest, right? There's got to be some trails, and I don't know, man. It just, getting on a plane that you just kind of slap together seems ludicrous.
Right.
I mean, do they even know where they're going to land it once they get to wherever they're trying to get to? I've been so in and out, man. I don't know if there's a more solid plan, but
I feel like the writers are just trying to fill episodes right now. I don't feel like there's no high stakes, man.
I mean, Flight of the Phoenix, you remember that movie? That movie was fun, but
I mean, I could have been
no Flight of the Phoenix. Wasn't that the name of the movie? They're stranded in the desert and have to put a plane back together. And
I don't think I've seen that.
You haven't seen that?
Is it good?
Yeah, it was actually a really fun movie. At first you think it's going to be ludicrous, but no, it was fun. You remember that movie with Matthew McConaughey, Sahara or whatever, where they end up slapping something together to fly? I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I'd just hoof it over the mountain.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sorry to not be more. We usually try to be pretty enthusiastic about it, but I'm not that enthusiastic about this season. I'm almost back at like season 2 where I just cared so little I had gotten out of it. I mean, I wanted to turn around. Like I think we're pretty easy on The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead. I mean, a lot of times when we're praising it, other people are straight up, crapping on it and telling us how terrible it is. And I mean, that's that. But I mean, now I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not excited on Sundays. Like I remember Sunday, I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to take a nap, and I realized it was like 8:30 something, and I was like, well, hell, if I go to sleep now, I'm not going to wake up for the Fear of the Walking Dead. Damn it, I wanted to take a nap. Whereas with The Walking Dead, it would have been like, oh, I want to take a nap. Oh, hell no, The Walking Dead comes on in 30 minutes. I'm going to have to tough it out.
And I'm telling you, man, like Althea should have loved up that helicopter pilot a little more and just, talked her into ferrying some people on the other side of the mountain. Wouldn't that have been doable?
Just get us out of the radiation zone.
Yeah, and then go about your way. And, she could have turned on the charm and loved her up a little bit more. And I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, with that group that she's with, though, that might have been more of a challenge because who's not to say they don't track the helicopter or have some way to know that she was, dealing with other people. And it clearly sounds like they'll execute their own people without hesitation if they don't follow protocol. So, that's probably wouldn't have been as doable. But
yeah, but a girl like Althea, man, she gets to kissing on your neck and stuff. You'll probably do what she want you to do.
A girl like Althea, you've met a girl like Althea?
Sometimes, yeah. Actually, I was like 19, I think, still going to college. I met this girl named Althea. And super short hair was the first scene girl I'd kind of hooked up with, and man, you just took me back like over a decade, man. You do it every time. You took me on a little time traveling trip, and I'm kind of aroused now. So maybe we should wrap this up so I can,
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens next week. The Beermobile is down in radiated grounds, right?
Yeah, the balloon went down in no man's land, and they got to get Strand out of there before his sexy ass gets irradiated. And
even the helicopter, I'd be like, if you can't ferry us back and forth, at least just carry us on your way. You know what I mean?
Or at least like get the kids. I don't know, man. I don't know. And the kids want to stay.
Yep,
that's their thing.
Yep. Some, they had the backstory of their parents all dying, and
right.
Yada yada yada.
But so where they are now at the gas station, that's relatively safe.
Right.
and they can stay there indefinitely, but I guess with limited resources, they want to get away from there.
Back in behind the safety of the zombies, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess if there was like a bad storm, maybe it could carry some of that fallout. I don't know. It's very complicated. And
yeah, who knows? We'll see. It's I don't know, man. I really hope that they go. So I want this show to be good. I can't. I'd be lying if I was trying to act super interested in this season.
We'll see where it goes, man. I think there's still time for them to turn it around in Act 2. So we'll see.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. I would love to go back and be like, I had my doubts, but this season was amazing. So maybe in hindsight, we'll do that. But JP, before we go, let's tell them about that Patreon.
Patreon, there's a link to it in the description, I believe. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead. Contribute, because it all goes into the show for production and merch, which we're coming up with now. That might be the first thing we'd do. And $1, $1 million, whatever you want to give. And once we hit 20 patrons, we will have a drawing for a prize pack, which is going to be super dope.
Super dope, super awesome. And we want to make this into a video podcast. So in order to do that, it takes a little bit of money. So that's what we're working towards. And then like JP said, we want to get you some merch that we can send you. Do contests. I would love to do like a weekly merch contest. You know what I mean? Where once a week we have a weekly winner who we send some cool merch to. So that's what we're working on. Patreon, and then just Patreon. What is it? Patreon.com/podcastingdead, or just go to Patreon and search for us.
Yeah. I think the link is /thepodcastingdead. But yeah, you can search for us. We'll put a link in the description. And
boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Happy days.
And before we go, social media info. JP, tell them where they can find you on the interwebs.
I've integrated a little bit Jpslim on Snapchat and Periscope, and J_Radsaw on Instagram.
Oh, you have a Jpslim? Do you have another Snapchat?
No, I just changed my name on there.
Oh, no kidding.
So yeah, I figured that would help out a little bit.
Getting a little more streamlined. Good for you.
Bit.
Mine still says JP5000.
Really?
Yeah, but let me find you. But mine is really easy to find. Just I'm Justin Lloyd. No spaces, no apostrophes, none of that. Just I'm Justin Lloyd, all lowercase. We'll get you Snapchat, Periscope, and Instagram. So make sure to go follow us there. And if you want to, contribute to the Patreon, and we'll grow this channel together. So I guess until tomorrow, do you have something, JP?
No, just watching girls dance on Snapchat.
Nice.
Listen to me, Indian girl.
Oh, okay.
Love it.
Okay. Well, until tomorrow, where we meet for Trending Tuesday, I'm Justin.
And I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.